Right now, at this exact second, your brain is doing a massive amount of heavy lifting. It's regulating your heart rate, managing your breathing, and focusing your eyes on this screen. All of it is happening without your permission. That physical automation is expected, but the invisible machinery in your head is also running the rest of your life. Who you decided to trust today, the route you took to work, the way you reacted to an email. Your brain predetermined those too. Science suggests that up to 95% of human cognition is entirely automatic. The conscious mind, the voice in your head that feels like it's calling the shots, is mostly just a spectator. If your subconscious is making the overwhelming majority of your decisions in the dark, who is actually in charge of your life? In 1983, neuroscientist Benjamin Libet set up a simple experiment to find out. Subjects sat in a chair, hooked up to electrodes, and were told to flick their wrist whenever they felt the urge. This timeline graph shows exactly what the data revealed. The brain began preparing to move a full half-second before the person consciously decided to move. The physical choice happened before the conscious thought. 25 years later, John Dylan Haynes escalated this test at the Bernstein Center in Berlin. Subjects were placed in an fMRI scanner and asked to freely press a button with either their left or right hand. As the scan data visualizes, the researchers could predict which hand the subject would use up to 10 seconds before the subject made the choice, simply by reading the subconscious brain scans. If a machine can read your subconscious and predict your actions 10 seconds before you freely choose to make them, our traditional idea of conscious free will starts to look like a biological illusion. Nobel laureate Daniel Kahneman mapped out exactly how the mind divides its labor to make this happen. He proposed that we operate on two distinct systems. System 1 is your fast, automatic, subconscious engine. It's the instinct that slams your foot on the brake before you even realize the car ahead of you has stopped. System 2 is your slow, deliberate, conscious mind. This diagram illustrates the massive disparity in their raw power. System 1 processes roughly 11 million bits of information per second, while your conscious System 2 handles about 50. Because System 2 requires immense energy to run, it fatigues quickly. When you are stressed, tired, or overwhelmed, your brain conserves energy by handing the wheel entirely over to the System 1 autopilot. Sigmund Freud originally described the mind as an iceberg, and modern neuroscience backs him up. The vast majority of our operating system is completely submerged and unseen. Deep in that vault is the first layer, implicit memories. This is where your brain locks in physical skills, like riding a bike or swimming, so you never have to waste energy relearning them. The second layer is emotional conditioning. Your subconscious actively scans buried memories, past rejections, or social cues, using them to dictate whether you feel sudden anxiety or comfort in a new room today. The third layer is made up of cognitive biases. These are the invisible mental shortcuts your brain takes to process reality quickly. They are the exact vulnerabilities that algorithms and advertisers exploit to keep your attention. Your 95% autopilot is not a glitch. It is an incredibly efficient survival database running entirely on historical programming. For decades, science assumed that once you reached adulthood, this neural programming was permanent. But we now know the brain's physical structure is highly adaptable. This is neuroplasticity, grounded in Donald Hebb's 1949 foundational law. Neurons that fire together wire together. Every repeated thought, habit, and reaction thickens specific neural pathways. Because your brain physically rewires itself based on what you do repeatedly, you possess the mechanical ability to overwrite your own subconscious programming. The first step to rewiring is affect labeling. Research out of UCLA proves that simply assigning a verbal name to a negative emotion, like saying out loud, "I am feeling anxious," measurably reduces activity in your amygdala. Step 2 is pattern recognition. You have to coldly observe your own automatic behavioral loops, watching how you react to stress or conflict, without applying any moral judgment to what you see. Step 3 is repetition. This graph illustrates the timeline for neuroplasticity. Science shows it takes anywhere from 21 to 66 days of consistent practice to forge a new neural pathway strong enough to become an automatic habit. Step 4 is somatic experiencing. By using targeted, slow-breathing techniques, you can physically force your autonomic nervous system out of a stressed fight-or-flight state. You let the body lead the brain. Step 5 is environment design. Your subconscious responds heavily to visual cues. By altering your physical surroundings, you organically prime your brain to focus without draining your conscious mind's limited willpower. These 5 tools act as a bridge. They give your conscious 5% the leverage it needs to deliberately train and course-correct your massive 95% autopilot, which brings us back to the paradox of free will. Philosopher Ian McGilchrist offers a resolution. Your subconscious is not an alien invader. It is the deepest, most experienced version of you. True free will isn't about micromanaging every single 50-bit decision in your day. True free will is intentionally programming your 11 million-bit autopilot, so your default settings inevitably drive you exactly where you want to go.